All right. Let us watch a Year 7 Dead by Daylight retrospective by Pixel.
Massive steps forward in the game's UX accessibility.
A little loud. Ow.
UX, or user experience, is a catch-all term for the quality and smoothness of a user interacting with the system, and DBD has made leaps and bounds in this past year. Accessibility is a part of it, and the recent visual terror radius coupled with the accessibility menu that allows players to customize their own experiences to their needs are fantastic inclusions that really modernize the game. But there's a lot of more general purpose UX improvements too, like the ability to access your tone challenges while you're in the queue.
Pixel, where are you from? I just realized I have no idea what that accent is. I can't actually tell. It sounds something European, but I can't. He's from British. Thank you. Where's he actually from? I think he left out of cringe. It's fine.
To have separate challenges going on for Killer and Survivor at the same time, the in-game challenge tracker, and the HUD updates the game has had over the past year all fall under the UX umbrella. And I'm putting this first because more than any other change in the past year, even if you've hated every single other thing behaviour has done, UX and accessibility improvements are an objective good for the players of this game, and it should be celebrated. Genuinely, UX in gaming is so underappreciated, and DBD's UX team have been at the top of their game lately. I know some people at Behaviour watch my videos on the matter, and if any...
I gotta say, the subtitles are making this video very entertaining. They're so good. I am having a little bit of trouble understanding through the accent. So, it's glad that we're the videos about DVDs. It's good.
If you are watching this, go buy Steph and the rest of the UX team a drink or something. They damn well deserve it. The other pretty much unquestionable objective major good from Behaviour this year is to do with the game's economy, both in terms of the blood point economy and the availability of cosmetics. The BP economy has improved tremendously in the past year. The fact that we're at a point now where having too many blood points to effectively spend is a problem is insane to me.
That is true.
Especially given the game's...
That is one of the better changes overall. To the point where, honestly, we have too many blood points now. I'm curious, do you guys think at this point, with the excessive amount of blood points that we actually have, was the... Hold on, I need to go. I need effects for this. Was the blood point economy ruined? I feel like I've seen a bit more of a prevalence of, like, stronger items. A little bit, but other than that, it's been pretty much the same. I think overall, it's just pretty much a good thing.
History of being pretty stingy with the blood point grind. It all started with the great perk update of patch 6.1.0, which saw the blood point modifiers from barbecue and chili and wiggle
Patrick,
forever
you did
taken away so their usage rates weren't inflated by the increased blood point incentive to run those perks. Side note, I don't particularly like that Wiggle and Live Forever got a compensation buff, and a really fucking good one at that, but Barbecue didn't, especially since Aura Blocker perks also got buffed in that patch, which made Barbecue worse, while getting Wiggle and Live Forever stacks actually became easier, with Base Kit BT letting you farm your teammates for...
I do agree that getting Base Kit Beauty is a very solid change for the game, absolutely.
Stacks. But regardless, the removal of the BP gained from these perks also brought a change to the prestige system that made a character's teachables unlock across every character in the roster when you prestige them high enough, meaning that if you've got a new killer or survivor, you could just P3 them and get all their perks tier 3 on every new character, without having to traverse through 30 different blood webs to get them on everybody. While this new prestige system did help to future-proof the teachable perk mechanic, against a huge number of killers and survivors that the game wasn't really designed to accommodate, the lack of the BP boosters from the perks meant the actual time played to blood points earned to perks and items acquired ratios were about the same or even worse than the old system. So Behaviour decided to iterate further and made some great changes to give us a much more liberal approach to blood point gain. The prices of everything in the blood web was tanked across the board. The empty slots on the free track of the Rift Pass started to give out blood points and the BP cap doubled to 2 million, meaning suddenly players' blood points went much further than they used to and they were gaining them faster. This meant players could demolish blood webs and get high prestige characters very quickly,
fucking liberal
eliminating much of the problems of getting new perks from new characters and allowing certain high dedicated players to reach as high as prestige 100 on their favourite characters.
Holy
The
shit.
trouble here
people got the British 100. Dude, I only know like 3 British 100 players. That is impressive.
Actually sitting through all the blood boy animations enough to spend those millions of new blood points, which proves so time consuming that Behaviour has now added an auto blood point spender tool in the recent update. The fact that BPs are now so plentiful that we literally hold all our blood points is fantastic, and all but halts the grind.
Pixel, real quick, do you write a script before you do your videos, or do you just freeball it? Because if you write a script, you can import it directly into YouTube, and it just auto does your subtitles.
Have you ever shopped at Obis?
Really good. I have not, Serenity. There's one near me, but you didn't know that? Yeah, in YouTube, you can put your entire script in there, and it'll auto sync it up with your words, and it'll do that for you. Super cool feature.
Problem that DBD used to be notorious for. A massive success that came out for Dead by Daylight this year. Similarly, the cosmetic economy also improved a lot.
You can do that? You can put a quick YouTube tutorial really quick? Hold on. Need to make sure nothing's private. Yeah, you just go... Let me see if I can just do it on a random video. Let me know, get funny captions. True, true, true. I think you can do it just via this. 1 second. Where do you do it? Yeah. So, yeah, you go right here, under subtitles, and like this is what it thinks that I said, but you can edit this. You can put your entire draft there, and it'll do that all for you. So super easy.
Yeah, although less so than the BP economy. And we can see that with you winding back cosmetic sets.
Fuck off, Serenity.
In the prior year or two of DPD. While we still get linked sets and new skin releases, they are far less frequent than they used to be, with them only really being used anymore for radical model changes that you typically find in ultra rare or legendary skins that change a character completely, as opposed to them being pretty arbitrary like they used to be. A great example here can be seen in the Alice in Wonderland collection. The only linked set in the whole thing is the Jabberwocky skin for the artist, which, like, yeah, no shit, that had to be a set. But everything else is normally separated cosmetic pieces, and that's part of a concerted push to soften the DVD community's relationship towards sets. Make no mistake, if they'd made these skins a couple of years ago, I have no doubt that Kate's Alice skin would have been a full set. And I can say this because the Oktoberfest skin that she had a couple of years ago is almost exactly the same structurally and was packaged as a set for no discernible reason.
Yes, Jacob.
The Deep Rift was another new feature this year, giving dedicated players who complete the Premium Rift quickly a share of new cosmetics so you get more bang from your buck.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest. I still don't know what the Rift is. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I just press the buy all button with my infinite Auric cells, but I don't actually know what it is. Isn't it a battle pass? I guess. I don't know. I legit don't even know what it is. Something to do with like there's like a lore, or is that the tome or whatever? I don't know what the tome or rift is. Battle pass with lore. Okay, yeah. I have never engaged with the mechanic ever in my life.
From buying the Rift Pass, which certainly isn't a bad thing, and is only getting better with more changes to it in the new mid-chapter. In addition, a new policy from Behaviour was instituted that all original cosmetics will be available for Eerie shards a month after they come out, which is fantastic for all the invested players out there like me, with a few billion shards and nothing to do with them, because it finally gives us an outlet to get new interesting outfits without spending a penny. I burned 10,000 or more Eerie shards as soon as I could to get a load of fresh fits for Skull Merchant and Hattie, characters that I like a lot but wasn't ready to spend actual money on, so giving me options to spend Eerie.
You know what? We're changing this video into interrogating Pixel. Why do you like Skull Merchant? Explain it to me in detail. Just PixelBush, go. At PixelBush, I'm now interviewing you. Why do you like the Skull Merchant? What is wrong with you? I know you don't like her lore. I know you're the lore guy, so it can't be her lore because even her lore is dog shit. What do you like about her? I'm being a dick and putting you on the spot when you just want to chill. You actually do kind of like her lore. Why? I just broke my microphone. Oh my god. Why do you like her lore? I remember you shitting on her lore. What happened? What changed? Even you were shitting on it at one point. Whoa, why do you like it now? Like, what happened? The hips got to him. Jesus Christ. No. Let him cook. I want to know what changed. Let's not just say it's her ass. Pixel is a more refined individual than to fall to his baser instincts and just look at ass and say now he likes it. The story is not good, but the character is cool and the tome demonstrates it. Why is the character cool? Why do you think the character's cool? Like, do you think the aesthetic is cool? Her sounds, her movement, or what specifically? I want to hear an actual reason that doesn't just boil it down to, I don't know, I just like her. Oh my god, chat, stop talking about her ass. I'm just putting him on the spot. I am. I think all Skull Merchant enjoyers need to be named and shamed. I'm kidding for comedic effect. But there's like 1% of me that's serious. All right, I'm done. I'm done grilling poor Pixel.
Reshards or anything in their collections was a godsend.
Oh, I like the aesthetic of the machine as an expression of her personality. So I like Saw. See, I get that with Saw. That makes sense, and that's cool. Why does the aesthetic of the machine reflect an expression of her personality? Was it in the Brazilian mangas? I'll let you.
Although it's important to remember that not every cosmetic change this year was a good one. Most notably the introduction of limited time cosmetic windows and especially their applications to older skins in the store. With the Eerie Shards change came the news of limited time cosmetics. The DBD's annual events would bring with them limited time skins that would cease to be purchasable outside of those events.
I feel like this is a hot take from my end. I don't care about the limited time cosmetics at all. I don't think they're a problem. Every time people like bring this up, they say it's like a predatory practice. I just don't give a shit. If you don't want the cosmetic, don't buy it. The end. Like, why is that so bad? I have infinite Auric cells, but I don't spend them because I don't want anything. But if you're missing out, if you didn't want to miss it, why didn't you buy it when you could? A psychological bullshit thing? Maybe I'm just weird. Maybe I'm just the outlier. That's a little bit fear messing at us. Yeah, I get that. But I don't view DBD skins as something that I'm ever going to regret not having purchased at a certain point. Maybe that's why my perspective on this is weird. I'm going to think a year from now, damn, I really should have got that Kate cosmetic as it rains in a windowsill. Like, I don't fucking care. I'm just too old for it. Maybe it is as simple as that. I'm just a fucking boomer and it just doesn't matter to me, but it does matter to other people, I guess. Just because I don't get it doesn't mean it's not a thing. Rent due next week. Skins would make me not able to pay rent, but skins go away in 3 days. It's predatory. If you're buying DBD skins or even considering buying DBD skins when you can't afford rent, you are a fucking idiot. And I think your opinion's stupid. I don't know, man. If you're that irresponsible with your money, you deserve, like, I don't think that's even an issue. That's just, you're just really bad with money at that point. I don't know, man. Or have a mental disorder. Look, I'm sure there are people with, like, legit disorders and stuff like that, and that's a whole separate conversation. We're not going to make fun of those people. But, I don't know. I've never really cared about this stuff as long as it's just cosmetic. Like, if it's something like, you know what I don't like? I don't like what Diablo 4 is doing, for example. If you pre-order the game, you get to play it earlier than people. That, I think, is stupid. I think that's unfair. That's because you get an advantage. You get more experience in the game over people because you decided to get something that they chose to not to get at the same time. That, I think, that I have a problem with. That's stupid. But if it's like a fucking blue shirt on somebody, I don't know. I guess I'm detached from the youth. I'll never get that shit. It's targeted at vulnerable people who struggle with that self-control. I guess. Sure. A practice should only be available for single-player experiences. I just don't care. Oh, in this video, Pixel? My goodness, okay. This video by PixelBush? I almost just want to have a whole separate discussion of fear of missing out now. Because I've seen the term FOMO pop up this year and last year, maybe. It's like a really new term. Where did that come from? Because that is absolutely a, God, what is that for? Neologism? It's like a, no, fear of missing out is an old term for sure. I'm saying FOMO in general. The actual acronym FOMO is I've never heard that before. Like from the past couple of years. The fear of missing out, absolutely. I've heard that since pretty much all my life. FOMO is older too, really? Huh. Wonder why I've never heard it before. I was using the biz a lot for a long time. Really? How did I never hear that? That's so weird. Huh. Fair enough. TV was talking about that shit? Really? How did I never hear? Maybe I did hear it. I just didn't acknowledge it as a thing that I need to retain in my brain or something. Fair enough. This community is skewed towards my viewpoint of not caring about cosmetics, and that's why so many people don't get FOMO and stuff like that. That is 100% a possibility. 100%. I am very much willing to accept that my audience sort of shares my opinion. We just don't really care about cosmetics that much. And so this whole conversation we think is silly because who cares if you don't get, like, you know, a purple shirt? Like, it's no one cares. But the thing is, people do care. And I'm wondering who that target audience is. Is it just younger people? Not to say younger people's opinions aren't valid, because fucking half the player base is younger people. I wonder if it's an age thing. Because I feel like as you get older, you are forced to be more responsible with your money or you become homeless. So, like, you don't have a choice. Whereas when you're a kid, you know, if you're having a part-time job and you spend some money, it's like, whatever. There's no, like, there's not much of a risk there. I feel like that's a younger thing, right? Any age group can be hit by it. It's all about the individual's self-control. And so the whole concept behind that is that it incentivizes people. What is the argument against it? Is it that the fear of missing out incentivizes you to buy something you normally wouldn't have purchased? Or something that you wouldn't have purchased at that time? So it's to buy something you normally would not have purchased. It's almost like there's like a hoarder component to it, right? Because like hoarding is a problem with a lot of people. It seems like you just want to have like that. You got to have like that shelf of Funko Pops or something like that before you can't get them anymore. That sort of thing. I bet there's a lot of like psychological similarities between like hoarders and that. Funko Pops, we have like 50 of them because Jen wanted a bunch. Now they're just gathering dust on our shelf. I guess that's their point, they're decorations. Not hoarders, collectors. I mean, a hoarder is just the end stage variant of a collector, so. Neurodivergency is a huge factor. What does that mean? What does neurodivergent mean? Is that just anybody that's not a standard, normal functioning human? Is that just what that means? Like, I'm genuinely... I don't actually know what that term means. I see that a lot. I'm actually ignorant to it. Okay, so it's anyone that's got some little thing. Okay, by that logic, isn't basically everyone on the planet neurodivergent then? I would say I am. I have an OCD. I have to lock my door 3 times before I go to sleep. Does that count as... Am I neurodivergent then? Okay, well then basically everybody on the planet is. Because everyone's got a little something that's weird. It's a weird term. I've seen a lot of people like justify them doing like crazy shit because they're neurodivergent, but I feel like that just can mean basically anything. Not to minimize people that actually have like, you know, legit issues and stuff like that. But I feel like it could just basically mean anything at that point. Because I feel like no one is just normal. Although by definition, doesn't that not make sense? Because normal is what normal is compared to. I'm talking on things I don't understand. Yes, Kizwati, that's how conversations go. I ask chat things and I learn stuff. This is how you expand your brain. Interesting, though. Serenity, personally, I think it's a bit of people wanting to be a part of something. You played a bit of Overwatch the past 7 years, and they had skins that never affected gameplay, so you just adopt that mindset into all games. It's just people wanting to be a part of something. Yeah, and like, I can understand that. Patrick, did you miss the ban button 3 times? I want to go over what Zubat just did here. So, the first time, I think he missed the permaban button. And then he somehow missed it again. What? You missed that shit twice in a row. Alright. Please don't learn anything from Twitch chat. That's also probably good advice. But it's ironic because you're advising me in Twitch chat to not learn anything about Twitch chat. So now my brain is exploding because now I don't know what to do. If you're diagnosed, it's different. Oh, completely. We're getting so off topic here, but I like debating about this stuff. I think there is an epidemic of typically younger people that just make up shit that they have to be victims of stuff. And there are also people that legitimately do have problems and they are disregarded by people because they think that they're in the same boat of those people that just make shit up. And that sucks. So there's like a really like complicated thing there where people self-diagnose themselves and they're full of shit, and people don't diagnose themselves when they actually are suffering. And that sucks. And I think that the people that just self-diagnose themselves are just ruining it for the people that are legit suffering. How does this come back to DBD? It's because everyone that plays DBD has a mental illness. That's how we bring it all back to the center. All right. Back to Pixel.
Meaning the window to buy them is limited, and if you miss it, have to wait the whole year for it to come back round again for a chance to get them again. This plays on the fear of missing out, or FOMO, and pushes players to spend money they might not have done otherwise to get this limited supply item because they worry they might not get the chance to do so again. It's now or never. This is a pretty...
But isn't that... See, I kind of find that to be, like... okay, maybe it's not the same. I'm thinking about the... you guys remember, like, the Lunar event a long time ago with the Huntress mask? I remember I wanted to do that event because it was going to go away after that, right? So that was technically fear of missing out. I didn't want to not get that cosmetic because it looked cool and I wanted it, and it was not going to be obtainable. But that wasn't something that you purchase. It was something that you earn. So is the problem not... It seems like people don't have a problem with fear of missing out. They have a problem with fear of missing out when you have to pay for it. So it's only when there's a money component involved, then it's a problem. Is that accurate? Okay. And that's when it becomes predatory according to people. Okay. I'm trying to get on the same page. So yeah, monetized FOMO is bad, but regular FOMO I think is kind of cool because it basically pushes you towards a challenge to yourself to get something before it goes away. Oh no, Steak, don't do that. But time is money. Therefore, don't even start that shit. I'm gonna go on a fucking 40-minute rant about something else now.
Skeevy thing to do with new skins, but I don't think I'd care about.
Overall, my whole point is DBD's monetization is totally fine. I think it's one of the least predatory models I've ever seen in a video game. I think legit it's fine. I do think the shrine needs to be reworked to allow you to purchase perks. That's probably the only huge issue I have with it. Because having to buy new content for like the updated perks, that sucks. So I think the shrine should allow you to purchase a perk per week. But other than that, it's whatever.
It enough to put it in this video if it was just the new ones. After all, this is kind of the new normal for live service games these days.
True, Derry.
What really irks me is that this retroactive application of this philosophy to older cosmetics that happened to fall into the seasonal release windows in the past. Suddenly skins that were available for years just disappeared from the store, locked away until the next event brings them back. This is particularly brutal for characters who happen to release in the seasonal windows.
Wait. So, is it fear of missing out if the thing will come back later? Does that still qualify? Because I feel like fear of missing out is you're not going to ever get a chance to get it again. If it comes back later, you can still get it, so you're not missing out. You're just not paying the premium to have it earlier than other people, basically. What if it comes back in 10 years? Then technically you're still not missing it. You're still gonna get it. But, I mean, that's kind of semantics at that point. Because you're not gonna have the experience of having it while everyone else is... It's like everyone else is playing the new Pokemon game and you're sitting alone in your room still having fucking, like, Mario and your Game Boy.
Artists and Twins, for example, both released in the winter. And as a result, the skins they got on release were winter themed.
The times point, yeah, okay.
Which meant they were earmarked as seasonal skins and have been removed from the store. Okay, a quick aside here. It turns out I've done a bit of a fucky-wucky on this one because the artist skin is not actually restricted. It's part of the Everlasting Frost collection, which is different from the Cozy Break collection that got restricted from that year. Which is odd because the Cozy Break collection was released only a week after Everlasting Frost, but Cozy Break is restricted and Everlasting Frost isn't. The only reason I can think as to why is because in Everlasting Frost there was a Ghostface skin, which might cause issues with restricting it because it's a licensed character. So Carmina may have just gotten lucky that her release skin didn't get restricted because it happened to coincide with the Ghostface skin. A better example of characters who've been released in an event only to have their event items restricted are Hattie and Dredge, who released during the anniversary of last year.
I have absolutely no idea what the fuck you're saying right now, Pixel. You have said so many cosmetic terms and things, my brain literally just doesn't understand what you're saying. I feel so stupid. Hardy and Drag. Dude, that was my favorite old British show, Laurel and Hardy and Drag.
And Michaela, who released in Halloween 2021. All of these characters had event skins as their release skins that have since been restricted.
Oh my god.
So
nothing about DBD matters. Look at Emma. She's trying to get attention. Look at her. Look at that chonky thing. Who somehow is the exact same weight despite being on a diet. I don't know how she doesn't lose weight anymore. She's been on a diet for like a year now and she's lost 1 pound. She's only lost a single pound in a year. Don't shame her. I don't want her to be unhealthy, so I will shame her. She needs to leave. She's needed to lose 1 more pound for her entire life, basically. She just refuses to do it. Emma, Jesus Christ. You slut. Stop it. God. Still progress. It is still progress. I just want her to be healthy. It's funny because she's fast as shit. She's just got a tummy. She is so attention starved right now and it is adorable. I just had to share that she is rubbing her face on everything. Okay.
They've all kind of suffered from this a little bit. Carmina didn't really because she just got lucky.
Wait, there's a buddy loaf? There is a buddy loaf. Look at that fucking loaf. Oh my god. Where are his limbs? Dude, I'm getting so off. This is like the most ADD stream I've ever done. Hold on. This shit's more important than DBD though. Let's be real. This is... No, the loaf is gone. God damn it. Never mind. Whatever. I was going to put him on the big screen.
Big to his own cats, Andy.
Damn, thank you for the 7 months. I am reacting to my own cats. Hey, Emma. I'm going to put my finger in front of Emma. She's going to sniff it. Emma. Sniff my finger. Emma. Do it. There we go. Okay. Did I just experience low FOMO? That's probably the best series of acronyms I've ever seen in my life. Oh my god. Bro, I'm getting dizzy from laughing. Low FOMO is real. Where are the videos about low FOMO? Oh.
At least Artist has received a constant supply of new skins since she came out. After all, she was the only original killer released in Year 6 of DBD, so it makes sense that she would get so many.
You know what, Pixel? I forget everything about the whole subtitles thing. Don't ever do that. Don't ever put the accurate subtitles. This makes your videos significantly more entertaining. Not that they're already not well produced, but it's just only enhancing your content.
But Twins have only had 3 skins since they came out, and until literally a week ago when their Rift skin got taken out of the vault, they only had 1 available for purchase. A killer that came out 2.5 years ago only had 1 skin that you could buy because the other ones were either marked retroactively as a seasonal skin and removed from the store, or were locked in the archives and wasn't available in the store for almost a year after it first came out. If you think about this policy for more than, 4 seconds, you realise just how daft it is. And it was coupled with a year that displayed more favouritism from behaviour with which characters get cosmetics and which don't than any year prior.
Behavior has absolutely zero favoritism towards certain characters. It's completely fine that, like, Meg has 749 and Fang has 9,000, and I think Tap has, 3. It's completely balanced.
They had a bit of an excuse. They only have 3 new original characters to cater to, so they can't do what they wanted. But this year has had more original characters than any year in DBD history, and it's really obvious which characters' behaviour is choosing to market and which they're choosing to forget. For killers, it makes a bit more sense to be discerning as to which characters you give skins to. Nobody will play Twins whether you give them a skin every patch or not.
True.
So it makes sense to cater more to the majority, even if it doesn't really, favour me. But for survivors who are really just skins themselves, it seems pretty asinine to favour some over others, so obviously when a big reason many survivors get played in the first place is because they have nice outfits to choose from. Let's compare the 2 new original survivors that aren't brand new so far, Vittorio and Hattie. Vittorio released with the normal collection of outfits, including 2 green, 2 purples.
What is that?
Shirtless ones. But Vittorio and Hattie.
What is that?
Released with the normal collection.
What is that? Is this like a custom server? Billy? What is Hillbilly? Shit, why did I say Hillbilly? You guys only said Billy. I just fucked my own joke.
Outfits, including 2 green, 2 purples, the shirtless ones. But shortly afterwards, also received a Lunar New Year outfit, 2 new outfits in the tome he got, and a Techwear outfit on top of that. Meanwhile, Hattie released with no...
Permanently ban anyone that cringes at me. You're all banned.
Green rarity skins at all. Only 1 purple rarity, which was a linked set unlike Vittorio's, the anniversary skin, and only got her missing greens several months later. One as a Prime Gaming reward to boot. And the cosmetics that she had on release weren't even finished. Her yellow rarity head options were basically paying for nothing to change at all, and even her hair was blue for some reason, instead of the white it was in her lore and key art. All of this required her to eventually get a mini visual rework recently that gave her actual head cosmetics, her white streak back, and a small roadmap from the devs to assure people that Hattie hadn't been totally forgotten. Let's move away from cosmetics and whatnot, get down to brass tacks and talk about the gameplay changes that we've seen in Year 7, because wow, there has been a lot. 6.1.0 marked a huge meta shift, that pushed mainstay perks like Decisive Strike, Hex, Ruin, and Pop Goes the Weasel out of relevance, while bringing in some new meta perks and some general killer buffs targeted to making low-tier killers more effective. In that regard, 6.1.0 technically did what it was meant to do, at least when it came to the killer meta. It shook the meta game up significantly by gutting regression perks and making low-tier killers more viable through the power of Gen Kick, perks like Corruption, and Overcharge, combined with longer generator times overall. But in the curling of the monkey's paw into a middle finger at the player base, this meta shift kinda caused more issues than it solved.
Yeah.
The dry kick meta combined Call of Bride and Overcharge, two perks that encourage the killer to pick a 3-gen at the start of the game and kick the gens over and over instead of taking chases, with Eruption, a perk that could disable survivors for almost half a minute for working on generators the killer had kicked every time they got it down.
I will agree that the whole
overtuned and got
Gen Kick meta is one of the worst meta this game has ever had. It was boring for killer, it's boring for survivors, it's just one of the worst things we've had. So I'm glad that they did address that last patch, because that shit was awful. I need to go wake Jen up, because she has to raid or something, and she was taking a nap. Be right back. 2 seconds. Here, look at Emma. Okay.
The release of the Tools of Torment chapter, removing Incapacitated altogether in favour of momentary aura reading. But if anything, it has made the problem even worse, because now the only perk that enabled killers to commit to the chase suddenly didn't exist, while the two perks that enabled the turbo dry kicks in the first place were as strong as they ever were. You could throw Eruption into any killer build and it would be pretty good if you just kick gens whenever you had the chance. I ran Eruption as my only gen regression perk on Twins and actually had a lot of fun with it.
She actually pissed behind my door because she's done that before. That's not even a joke.
Even when I wasn't playing for 3-gen, I was using it as a way to buy time, pick up down survivors, etc, etc. Call of Bride and Overcharge were a very different beast, because they only got most of their value if you played in a very particular way that was so unskilled and uninteractive, it more or less demanded that you remove your frontal lobe before you started, so your brain doesn't shut down from inactivity. Here's my handy 3-step guide to using Call of Bride and Overcharge in your matches. Step 1. Kick the gen. Step 2. Wait for Call of Brine to tell you to kick the gen again. Step 3. Kick the gen again.
True.
You've now played Dead by Yellow for most of Year 7, and it was quite likely the most unhealthy gen regression meta we've ever had.
True.
It was fundamentally anti-gameplay, punishing survivors for not spending their time harassing the killer's 3-gen 24/7, and punishing the killer for doing anything that wasn't obsessively kicking every gen in a 3-gen until survivors died from boredom. The Tools of Torment mid-chapter finally put this horrific meta to rest, after about 9 months of dominance, and it's proved to be a real pain point of the past year as killers discouraged from participating in the game altogether, since incentives to chase and down survivors just disappeared. And the thing is, a cursory look at these perks, barring Eruption, should tell you why they weren't meta before. Actively pushing to make these kinds of unearned regression perks meta was always going to do this,
True.
and the overcharge buff was honestly the statement of intent that put us in this really unpleasant situation. First boil over and then this. Behaviour should really think about the consequences of gigabuffing the most dismally unfair and unearned perks in the game to be also the best ones. Perks that punish players for taking basic game actions like taking chases or picking survivors up need to be implemented very carefully, because they
I don't really have any comments on any of this part so far because I pretty much agree with all of it.
promote effectively non-games. That's what the meta has been for most of this past year. It's made Survivor horrible. It's made Killer horrible. If you're not taking the trip into the realm of the Gen Kick Andy, I'm glad this new mid-chapter is finally taking it out to pasture. But as miserable as this new meta was, both its inception and its demise showed us something pretty important that was a major high point for this year. Year 7 of DBD was a year of great experimentation by the devs. In this time you've had not just one, but two big dedicated meta shake-up patches. Alongside the finisher more assistant system on PTB, some power and perk designs that are utterly unlike anything we've seen before, and a return to aggressively balancing new and existing killers after killer maintenance kind of stopped being a thing during Year 6. Over the years, Behaviour developed a not great reputation when it came to taking feedback between the PTB and live. Chances are whatever you saw on the PTB would make it to live servers. Maybe some game-breaking bug would get fixed, or an easy exploitable add-on combo would get nerfed, but for the most part, what you saw was what you got. This started to change with the release of Wesker when they just his collision once or twice, but only really became noticeable when the night arrived when it received a windfall of buffs between his PTB and his live.
The night arrives and created a windfall of baths. Oh, it's so good.
Release, and then again between his live release and his mid-chapter. Skull Merchant got the same treatment. Constant maintenance to ensure she runs properly. Well, okay, it was damage control, so everyone fucking hated her, but nevertheless, it was a lot of changes they made in quite a short period of time. And it isn't just a new killers either. 2023 marks the year that Nurse finally fell from her pedestal as the best killer in the game, with her blink attacks turning.
Whoa. Baby, chill. Nurse is pretty overpowered, but you don't have to fucking shoot her, man. Jesus Christ.
New killers either. 2023 marks the year that Nurse finally fell from her pedestal as the best killer in the game, with her blink attacks turned into special attacks, so she wouldn't get value from exposed perks and her add-ons were nerfed to boot. Which in combination with the new meta changes, actually takes it out of the top spot for the first time in the game's history. In general, Year 7 was the year that so many of DBD's with the new meta changes, actually takes it out of the top.
Pixel, what drugs are you on to say that Spirit is better than Blight? What the fuck? Dude, they give the 4 months. I'm being so semantic over basically just going, boop. Just, doot. That's all I gotta do.
Spot for the first time in the game's history. In general, Year 7 was the year that so many of DBD's oldest and nastiest bugbears were finally slain. Nurse, Dead Hard.
Wait, they finally got the bugbears? God, they were the bugbears were terrorizing my tavern.
Year 7 was the year that so
for
many
literally 20 years.
DBD's oldest and nastiest bugbears were finally slain.
Wait, are you actually saying bugbears? Like the D&D creature bugbear?
These oldest and nastiest bugbears were finally.
Wait, is that actually what you're saying, Pixel? Are you actually saying bugbears? What's a bugbear? A bugbear is a fantasy creature. That's like a it's like a bear face with like a ogreish body kind of thing. It means pet peeve. Oh, is that like a that's not a term I've ever heard before. I mean, I've heard it in D&D and stuff like that, but it's a similar term to pet peeve. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was used as a separate term. I thought it was just the D&D creature.
Slain. Nurse, Dead Hard, Decisive Strike, Circle of Healing, Hex Ruin, all knocked down a peg this year after they were all hardcore meta literally from the day they came out. It's evidence of a new and more ambitious approach to game balancing from Behaviour, and it certainly kept the game feeling interesting and fresh compared to the snail's pace of balance updates we were getting before. Even the dreaded Gen Kick meta only lasted 9 months, by far the shortest of any killer meta we've ever had, even though it felt like it was around forever. I seriously hope the spirit of aggressively changing things and making a new meta every 10 minutes is carried forward into Year 8.
I agree.
It's been one of the biggest hallmarks of this year.
I do like that. I do like when they go and make a shit ton of changes, even if some of them are not great. I like things just being at least different.
Mostly, because while the killer meta has been shaken up significantly, the survivor meta remained much more stable by comparison and only really got changed substantially with the most recent mid-chapter patch. Prior to this new mid-chapter, Dead Hard went from being the best survivor perk in the game to being still the best survivor perk in the game. Unbreakable, Proved Thyself and Sprint Burst weren't touched and still won't be, and Circular Healing...
It's because he plays twins. It's because he plays twins.
Incredibly resilient to Behavior's attempts to nerf it. Until the Tools of Torment mid-chapter, the only significant meta changes for Survivor were BT falling out of favour because of the endurance adding to the base kit, and one staple anti-tunnel perk being replaced with another staple anti-tunnel perk. Fortunately,
I always think that Decisive Strike and Off the Record have nothing to do with each other. They are completely separate layers of defense. People always say like you would use one or the other. Ideally, you would use both because they fulfill different objectives. The only true anti-tunnel perk I've really seen was Decisive Strike when it lasted 5 seconds. That was a really significant deterrent to tunneling somebody. I don't know why they reduced it to 3 seconds, because that was that was the sole deterrent to tunneling in DBD. That was really it. Because getting hit with a fat 5-second stun was rough. Reassurance is the best anti-tunneling perk. It's the best anti-camping perk. I wouldn't say anti-tunneling.
Tools mid-chapter has done a lot to encourage Survivor build diversity and push the game away from the super turbo giga healing meta that we've been in for ages, especially since Circle's release though. I do wish it happened sooner, however. So a pretty stagnant Survivor meta combined with a re-degenerate killer one has been a pretty substantial black mark against DBD this year.
Skull Merchant is a degenerate.
I'd also like to draw attention to the fact that Year 7 has been a pretty buggy year for this game. Year 6 was relatively stable, especially after the buggy mess that
I'm getting a drink. Also required a snack.
was Year 5, but Year 7 has been an unwanted return to form for buggy releases. Nowhere near as bad as 5, mind you, but still far from great. Forge and Fog especially was a very buggy chapter, and many of the bugs went unfixed for ages. The Twins bug especially have been real pain points for me personally, as they were effectively unplayable for almost 2 months straight. And it hasn't really helped that behaviour is super reluctant.
Can I just say, I feel so bad for Pixel, loving Twins, because I feel like anytime there's a problem with Twins, the entire DBD community is just like, I don't fucking care. It's gotta feel so bad.
Consistent with their use of the kill switch. Nurse's bugs took it out of the game for weeks due to the kill switch. Things like Obituary Obsession when that was bugged. But Merciless Storm has been bugged for ages with no kill switch in sight. And Twins weren't kill switched either, even though they were hard locking players out of matches.
That is weird. I don't know how Merciless Storm was still bugged and just not fixed. Somebody said that their kill switch got broken, which I think is the funniest shit ever. Somebody kill switched the kill switch. I believe it.
Honestly, it's been less the quality or quantity of bugs, but rather how long it's been taking behaviour to fix them that's really been irritating. Something that a DDoSing problem has also gotten under my skin about. I'm not mad that it's happened. Shit happens. I'm mad it's lasted as long as it has, and apparently hasn't been properly fixed. How disappointing. But it's time to cover the things that I'm sure you guys have really wanted.
You guys know they haven't fixed anything. The DDoSers just got bored. It's the same thing that happened last time. They didn't fix anything. Their solution was just wait until they get bored.
Talk about this entire time, and that's the year's chapters. The 4 chapters of Year 7 were Roots of Dread, starring the Dredge and Hadi Core. Project W, starring Wesker, Ada, and Rebecca. Forge and Fog, starring
How are you not
the
going to cheer
Knight
for
and
Wesker?
Vittorio Toscano. And Tools of Torment, starring the Skull Merchant and Talita and Hanato Lira. Let's start out with something controversial. Roots of Dread, best chapter of the year. It gave us
He
Hattie.
hates Wesker. I feel like if your brain is wired in such a way that you enjoy twins, that you must hate Wesker because Wesker is fun. And if you like twins, you must be against fun in all of its forms. So that tracks.
Who we've been waiting on for years, and she's great, really living up to the hype, even if she was kind of forgotten since then. It gave us the Dredge, a kind of prequel to Spark of Madness that tied together the Black Veil and the backstory of the Doctor in DBD's first original non-human killer, and a really unique kind of power. The map was garbage and the perks are pretty bad, but
Oh, come on.
and a really unique kind of power. The map
Kind of like egg on my face. Such a perfect. All right.
was garbage and the perks are pretty bad, but holy fuck, the characters Roots of Dread absolutely carry this year. Big fan of the chapter.
I think Dredge is honestly fine. I think Dredge is kind of boring, but I think like he's just a cool killer. You know what I mean? Like I don't have that many complaints about Dredge. I think his anti-loop gameplay is really boring, but he's cool. Like I got no problem with him.
I know a lot of people will not appreciate that opinion though. So let's talk about Project W, because this was the fan favourite chapter of the year without a doubt. It gave us Wesker, it gave us Ada and Rebecca, it gave us a dozen new Resident Evil characters during and after the chapter's release, and legendary cosmetics. Both a Horus rise from throughout RE1 to RE5, and legendaries for Legion and Blight to turn them into Hunk and William Birkin respectively. And all of these were done with new voice lines and lobby music on top of a reworked RPD, and even Blighted Wesker that came with the Halloween event. There's just so much for RE fans love about Project W. And it definitely helps that Wesker has the best received power of the year by far.
True.
You give DBD players the ability to dash real fast with passive slowdown, and throw people around the map. That's a recipe to make the game's most popular killer hands down. People fucking love Wesker, to the point that when I say I'm kind of mid on him, and to me, I prefer Roots of Dread as a chapter this year, I'm pretty sure I can hear the knives sharpening literally as I'm saying these words. Wesker was an absolute rampant success, even though I don't like his power, the character, and especially the game that he covers.
You know a funny thing? Like when we get like a Skull Merchant in our games, and we get like a Knight in our games, we're just like, I'm so sick of seeing this killer because, you know, I just want to have fun and I'm not going to have that with these killers. With Wesker, the reason people hated going against Wesker is because just everybody played Wesker. Wesker was so successful that the reason people started to dislike him is because no one wanted to play anything else. Which is, I think that means the thing they did was good. Now, it had the side effect of it being boring for Survivor because it became the Wesker game by Daylight, which sucks. But that's how you know a chapter was successful, when the reason people are upset they're going against them is because they're just tired of going against them. And that's basically it. That's a very good sign.
Comes from, I have to attest Project W was a great chapter. A huge step up from the Resident Evil chapter last year, and perfectly setting Capcom and behaviour up to turn DBD Resident Evil adventures into a trilogy. Come on, you all know what I'm waiting for. Just give it to me. So with the first two chapters of the year being pretty brilliant, DBD was off to a strong start to year 7, and then the other two arrived. Fortune, Fog and Tools of Torment has to be probably one of the most underwhelming chapter pairs in the game's history.
True.
Up there with Leatherface and Nightmare on Elm Street, and Shadow Bloodline Darkness Among Us.
What?
Both killers
Spirit was cool. OP as fuck, but cool.
had vastly unpopular powers to play against that encouraged the Turbo 3-gen playstyle that the new meta had thoroughly ensconced. The perks were either useless or encouraged really unhealthy gameplay, and Vittorio and Skull Merchant had some really undercooked lore to boot. I know Tools of Torment got most of the hate due to Skull Merchant being able to hold 3-gens really easily, her general lack of appeal to killer players,
She needs
and
to
some
stop
elements
selling
of her
me.
design that didn't get on well with a lot of people. But I actually think Forge and Fog is a significantly more harmful chapter in the long run, and deserving a lot of the hate that Tools ended up receiving. The Lila siblings are highly charming characters, with really good lore and a ton of effort put into realising them appropriately, unlike some survivors I could mention. Skull Merchant's Tome story was far better than any stories Forge and Fog brought.
Now it's
And in
Scott
general,
Mitch.
the chapter is another interesting high-concept project that had issues in implementation, but is at least unique enough to be interesting to talk about, because of all its oddities and problems and quirks, just like all Kill or Portrait of Murder that came before it. Forge and Fog, on the other hand, was a really hard chapter to fuck up thematically. All of the successes that it had, like the visual design of the knight, and the general tone and style of the chapter, were all things we'd seen before. The only unique element is the use of AI for the guards, which, let's be honest, they're just fast nemesis zombies. That's all they really are, and the end result of the knight's gameplay design is you get Artist without all the cool stuff that comes with Artist.
True.
He's much easier, much weaker, and kind of plays himself, unless you choose to hamstring yourself by choosing not to zone with him. I think his similarity with Artist is why I actually enjoy playing him to start off with, but dear god did he get old fast when I realised that if I wanted to play Artist, I could just play Artist. Skull Merchant is irritating with 3-gen perks, I know that, but that meta has been killed now. Without them, she's just a pretty shit killer. Like, not particularly irritating, she's an M1 killer with info and some slowdown, and she's just not very good. Knight, on the other hand, will always be a design nightmare. He will always just be easier and worse Artist, and that's so disappointing.
That's a good way to describe him.
Tools of Torment has its issues, don't get me wrong, but Forge and Fog lacks the diamonds in the rough that Tools had in places, in favour of just being a turgid, lukewarm porridge of mid. It aged like a hydrogen.
That was the most British sentence I've ever heard in my life.
And had the impact of a shot at a public swimming pool. It was disappointing and sadly always will be. And while I understand people who say that Tools of Torment is the worst chapter, I don't see a reason not to put Forge and Fog in.
And then we got Olliebot in chat, one up in the British. What diamonds is he waffling about? Fuck up, Ollie. Go eat a scone.
In particular on the list of Year 7's worst features. But before I wrap up, there's one more absolutely dire new addition to the game that I have to talk about. And it's Year
Oh, scones nothing. Scones are really good.
7's maps.
It's pronounced scone. Not America, it ain't.
Both the reworks and the new maps have been absolutely dogshit. Garden of Joy and Borgo were actually designed by Satan. The Red Forest rework somehow made Mother's Dwelling even better for Survivor.
True.
RPD was neither better nor worse, which is to date the lowest bar ever set for anything in human history. The Shelter Woods got its problems of big dead zones and lack of balanced landing spots for Survivor pretty much removed, but the map is now an old
Do you guys think that
abomination
they
for
do
Killer, just like every
have
other
bad
map
Sunday
that came out
thoughts?
this year. The only map that got better in a meaningful way was Eyrie of Crows. A very strong map for Survivor still, but far, far better to play on than it was before. And I'm still a little unsure how to call the new auto.
Where's my mouse?
I guess we'll see.
God.
For Survivor still, but better to play on than it was. For Survivor still, but that got better in a meaningful way was Eyrie of
The only map that got better at a mini footwear
Crows.
was Area of Crows. What a good sentence.
Map for Survivor still, but far, far better to play on than it was before. And I'm still a little unsure how to call the new Autohaven changes, so I guess we'll see. But aside from those, Eyrie and Temple, which is still, like, fine, the map design this year has been various flavours of terrible. I genuinely don't know what's wrong with DBD's map design team, because it feels like they're just going backwards at this point.
True.
So many bad maps, and due to only one realm being left in the Realm Beyond project, I don't think they're getting changed anytime soon either. So that little downer of an ending just about covers everything great and everything grim about DBD's Year 7. We had a pretty good start with Roots of Dread and Project W, closing us in with a meta shake-up that, while welcome at the time, turned out to be a bit of a poisoned apple. As this new meta started to grate with players, back-to-back original chapters that didn't really capture players' attention, beat many people down, and killed a lot of enthusiasm for this game, meaning its upcoming 7th anniversary has a lot to prove to players and needs to win back the crowd. Fortunately, the prevailing rumours suggest that a big license is coming this anniversary, with a few sources suggesting that we should expect Alien, which would be massive, both for winning back players who disengaged with the game lately, and for me personally, because the Alien video I did back in December would likely get popular again, which, you know, that'd be pretty cool too. Whatever it is, it had better be good, because the patience this community has for behaviour right now is very, very low. And while this new mid-chapter is pretty great, it needs to be followed up on with a strong anniversary.
True.
Year 7's been an odd one. But between the DBD board game finally arriving in players' hands, the upcoming Legion comic, the DBD movie in production, and the possibility of some really exciting licenses just around the corner, something tells me we're in for an exciting future. So those are my thoughts on everything that was good or bad about the last year of...
It's almost hard to not be optimistic about it, because it's hard to imagine how much more shit they can make. Like, after Skull Merchant and Knight, like, it's really hard to believe they could triple up on being, like, really shit. So it's pretty easy to be optimistic because there's nowhere else to go, I think.
By Daylight. The anniversary livestream is in just a few weeks, so were you excited? And what do you reckon were the best and worst bits of the last year in your opinion? I'd love to
The Knight Merchant, it's not as strong as the Scott Merchant.
hear what you guys think in the comments. And while you're down there, feel free to do all the engagement-y, subscribe-y, comment-y stuff that you people normally like to do. And if you really like me, do consider joining the Patreon. And my all-star patrons, who I love completely, help keep the lights on over here and are absolutely excellent. They get to see my videos a day early, and have access to some other sweet perks, access to the exclusive Discord chat. So if you find chipping in, then the link is in the description. As for what that next video is going to be, well, I'll need to cover Skull Merchant's lore very, very soon, because I've got a lot of opinions on her new tome story. But first, I have a potential problems video to make, and suffice to say, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Guess I'll see you then.
Alrighty. God, that took me like an hour and a half to watch a not hour and a half long video, because I just ADD'd so many times there. I still want to watch the movie. I haven't seen Megan. It was really good. That was a video by PixelBush. Megan's a banger. I heard it's really good, yeah. Oh my god. Oh, that was a good video. Even better subtitles. Papa John's. Pixel has some hot takes. Who doesn't have some hot takes in the DBD community? Have you ever met a lukewarm person in the DBD community that's a content creator? There are none. Everybody has had a hot take before in this community. Every single person. Even wholesome XD Outstarva has had, you know, the game is a killer-sided map type opinion. So everyone does that. Do we have anything else on the docket for now? Because this has been fun. Next DLC should be the B movie. I think the next DLC should just be Jerry Seinfeld. The killer should be Jerry. That's it. What's my hot take? I don't know. I have like 1,000 videos. Just go watch them. Half the shit I say is hot takes. Half the shit I say is not even hot takes. It's just me saying that basically everyone sucks and no one wants to hear that. So it's not a hot take. It's just annoying to hear. Can it be AI Seinfeld? No, I don't want to get banned. Can I react to a clip of Ralph? Sure, I love Ralph. Give me a clip. You don't suck, I suck? Wow. The fuck, man. At this point, it's fair to assume that all good DBD chapters are out of pure luck rather than inconsistent quality. You know, someday I would love to do like a post-mortem of Dead by Daylight after it dies, just to see like what exactly happened. I think it'd be interesting. Need some more ATC reaction videos. I haven't watched those videos in a long time. Oh god, that shit was so funny. Alright, what is this?
Oh my god, bro, that would be a good episode of Black Mirror. It's just the episode is you're watching like an animal fuck.
Alright, fucking clip shit.